On February 26, 2012, life changed permanently for Sybrina Fulton. Her son Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by neighborhood activist George Zimmerman, who was later acquitted of all charges. 7 years later, Sybrina is working to change the system and ensure no other mother loses their child. She's running for the Miami-Dade County Commission position that's open in Florida. Her platform includes gun violence prevention, increasing access to mental health resources for families dealing with trauma, and addressing housing disparities. Sabrina told the Miami Herald she wants to make positive change, and the only way to make positive change is if we are a part of the change. Sybrina Fulton joins me now here via Skype. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Sabrina, I got to ask you first, how are you doing? How is the family?
The family's doing well. I got all hands on deck, so they're in full campaign mode already, and we're a year out. But I just have to have my family and friends involved. It makes me feel comfortable.
I understand. So this is your first foray into electoral politics. I know you've been around politics a bunch, but how do you feel having your name be the one that's out there on the ballot?
I'm excited. I'm excited about the work that I feel that I can do. I'm excited about just meeting new people and just working with different people and just trying to make positive change. So I'm really excited about just the opportunity.
So in 2016, you were part of what they called the Mothers of the Movement, which is something I think you're still a part of. You traveled around for Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, got to see a bunch of the country. I'm wondering how that impacted at all your thinking about running for office yourself.
Well, yes, I can absolutely say that kind of pushed me into the right direction. I was thinking about it, and I did my research, and I decided, what seat that I fit best for and what position and how I feel like I can make change in my very own community. And so campaigning for Secretary Clinton made a big difference. It kind of planted the seed for me, but I still wasn't ready until I prayed on it, and it took almost a year in order for me to decide to run.
So tell me about this Miami-Dade race. I've spent a lot of time down in the Miami-Dade County, both professionally and personally. So I got a little sense of the geography, but tell us what you're running, what the campaign message is, and what you're trying to do when you get to the county commission.
Well, one thing, my main message is I want to see change in my community. I travel around the world, and in my travels, I meet with different communities. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did was I tried to make positive change in my very own community. I listen to a lot of people, I listen to a lot of issues that they have, but I think I have to start at home. And so that's what I'm doing. A lot of people didn't quite understand why I was running for, a local government seat. They felt that I should run for something higher, but I feel like I should start in my own backyard, and that's what I'm doing. Some of the changes that I feel that I can make are absolutely as it refers to gun violence and preventing gun violence and decreasing gun violence. I'm sure that gun violence is not going to ever go away, but I want to do my part to try to decrease it. Another thing that I'm interested in is health care. I want to make it more affordable. I'm looking into home ownership. I'm looking into rentals, because people can't simply afford to live in the areas that they work. And so I want to try to see what's the problem in that area so that we can try to make change.
Now, I saw recently that there was a young woman was she in Texas, in Dallas, who they shut her mic down while she was trying to give her valedictory speech, and she mentioned your son. You gave her another opportunity, though, right?
Yes, she mentioned my son and also Tamir Rice out of Cleveland, Ohio. And I heard about the story. I watched it on the news, and then I just felt, like compelled to do something. So I felt that I wanted to hear what she had to say. I mean, just like me, I'm sure other people were interested in what she had to say. And it wasn't anything negative. It was something positive, and so that we can remember those names, so the country can remember those names. And what I did was I reached out to her through the person who is our PR person, and she contacted her on my behalf, and I wanted to hear what else she had to say. And so once I listened to that, I posted it on my social media page so that others can hear as well.
obviously you've been living this in a very intimate way for the last few years, while the rest of us have been either participating as much as we can or paying attention to it. We've seen you talked about gun violence so much today, and we've seen so much of it, even down there in Florida. But one of the things that seems to be so striking, and that's why this story jumped out about the valedictorian, is that young people seem to be really picking this issue up and making it their own in a way. People who are older, people my age, people who are older, don't seem to have the same level of just imperative to make something happen as the young people do. Is that encouraging to you?
It is encouraging because unfortunately we're going to turn this country over to the next generation, and I want to make sure that they're ready for what they're going to have to endure, and that's gun violence. And so I think that a lot of times people in our generation is business as usual, and you have some people that's trying to make change, but it's going to take a collective effort in order for everybody to make positive change. And so I just commend those young people that just want to see change, and they want to make a difference. They want to stop people from going into schools and shooting people, going into the movies, going to the mall, the concerts and things like that. Those things we enjoyed growing up, and they want to enjoy those things too without having to worry about somebody coming in with a semi-automatic gun and shooting up everything.
Florida is one of these states that it just has so many things that pop up that seem to be so disturbing when it comes to issues around guns and police interaction and stand your ground laws. Have you seen anything as you've been out here running for office that gives you encouragement that that something can change, that something down there can change? And will you have any help when you get elected to make some of these things better?
Well, it's certainly some people here in South Florida that's interested in making positive change. But yes, in my travels, I have seen people that want to make change. Everybody is not speaking out. Everybody is pretty much waiting on someone else to do something, and then they jump on the bandwagon. And so we have to have more leaders that are interested in making change. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to step out, because a lot of times people look at other people, and that's the same thing that I did. In all honesty, I looked at my elected officials and said, why aren't they doing more? And so I look at myself now, and people are going to be looking at me and saying, well, why isn't she doing more? And so I just want to do what I can. I just want to lend my voice. I just want to lend my ear, and I want to speak for the concerns of the residents of Miami-Dade County.
Well, America has seen you, Lucy McBath, obviously in Georgia, who ran in the last election, got elected to Congress. I suspect there's going to be a lot more work for you to do in this country to try to make things better for your neighbors' kids and everybody else's kids. So I want to thank you for getting involved, and we'll see what happens in your race.
I want to thank you for having me on, but I want to send people to my campaign so that they can see what some of my issues are. And it's SabrinnaFulton.com. That's SYBRINAFULTON.com. They'll be able to see some of my issues. There's a video on there as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and hopefully people will take a look. Thanks for being on Rising.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with more after this.